Okay, let's play a game. I want you to imagine the Philippines, but delete everything you know. Delete the malls, delete the jeepneys, delete the churches, delete the Spanish, delete the name Philippines itself, named after a king who never even set foot here. What's left? If you listen to standard history, you'd think, not much, just scattered tribes waiting to be discovered. But what if I told you that was a lie? Welcome to the Srivijaya Connection, the Lost Empire. Today, we aren't just learning history, we are recovering your stolen memory. I mean, a massive case of amnesia. What if I told you that 600 years before Magellan, your ancestors were citizens of a global superpower? That they wrote contracts in gold and traded with empires that make Game of Thrones look like a backyard skirmish? Stick around because the proof is hiding in the words you speak every day. So let's address the fire in the room. There's this idea that Spanish friars arrived and just burned everything, a massive bonfire of our history. Did they burn idols? Yes. Father Chirino records destroying instruments of the devil. But libraries? Not exactly. See, our ancestors wrote on bamboo and palm leaves. In a tropical rainforest, humid, rainy, full of termites, bamboo doesn't last 500 years. It barely lasts 50. The Spanish destroyed some things, sure, but the real culprit was nature. It was rot. It was time. But here's the kicker. The Spanish recorded that we were literate. The Boxer Codex from the 1590s shows Tagalog royalty wearing gold and silk. They described a wealthy society, but because the physical records rotted, it created a void, an empty space. And into that void, people poured myths. We had a magical kingdom called Maharlika. We had Talano gold. No, stop. We don't need fake myths, because what we actually found in a junk shop is way cooler than any fantasy. Before we get to the discovery, I want to know, what's the craziest myth you learned in history class? Was it the land bridges, the waves of migration? Tell me in the comments. Let's argue. Now, let's go to 1989. 1989, Lumbang River, Laguna. A laborer named Ernesto is working on a dredging machine, a giant sand vacuum. It jams. He dives in to clear it and pulls out a black, muddy roll of metal. He almost throws it back, but he thinks, hey, maybe I can sell this for scrap. It goes to a junk dealer, then an antique dealer. Finally, it lands at the National Museum. They call in Antoon Postma, a Dutch anthropologist who lived with the Mayan tribes. He cleans it up, looks at the strange writing, and realizes this isn't just scratches, it's Kawi. Kawi is an ancient script from Java. Postma translates it. It's a receipt. Boring? No, because it has a date, Saka year 822, month of Vaishaka. That is precisely Monday, April 21, 900 AD, 600 years before Magellan. Europe was in the Dark Ages. Vikings were raiding England. And here, in Laguna, someone was hammering a legal contract into copper. It details a massive debt of gold owed to a noble named Namwaran, to the chief of Tondo. Here is the smoking gun. The text mentions the chief of Tondo, but also the chief of Medang. Medang wasn't in Luzon. Medang was a major kingdom in Java, Indonesia. They were FaceTiming, metaphorically, across the ocean. This connects the Philippines directly to the Srivijaya trade network. We weren't isolated. We were the northern edge of a massive Thalassocratic empire, a civilization of water and gold. Speaking of gold, let's go to Butuan. While the Spanish were looking for spices, the Kingdom of Butuan was literally tripping over gold. In the 70s, accidental digging started a gold rush. They found sashes, daggers, and bowls made of solid gold. and the Golden Tara, a 21-carat Hindu-Buddhist deity in Mindanao. This proves we weren't just animists, we were part of the Sanskrit cosmopolis. But the best story is King Sri Bata Shaja, 1011 AD. He wants to trade with China, but the emperor ignores him, so he sends an envoy with a memorial engraved on a solid gold tablet. He slams it on the emperor's desk. He basically said, "We are not a village, we are Butuan, respect us." And it worked. The Chinese records listed Butuan as a major trading partner equal to Chempa. This was a thalassocracy flexing its diplomatic muscles. We found the ships too, the Balangai. These weren't canoes, these were plank-built ocean voyagers held together by wooden pegs, not nails. The Vikings of the Pacific. They could sail to China, maybe even Madagascar. So when Magellan showed up in 1521 and his rider Pigafetta saw kings eating off gold plates, he wasn't hallucinating. He was seeing the remnants of a golden age that had been running for 5 centuries. You might think, cool history, but that's ancient. Is it? I bet you are speaking the language of that lost empire right now. Strip away the Spanish and English, and you find Sanskrit, the language of Sri Vijaya. The word for God, Bathala. That's Sanskrit Batara, noble lord. The word for spirit, Diwata. That's Sanskrit Devata. Guru is Guru. Mukha is Mukha. Even Dukkha, suffering. It's all Indian. My favorite, Bahalana. We think it means whatever happens, but it comes from Bathalana, leave it to God, or Bada, burden. It's not fatalism, it's a warrior's mindset. I've done my part, now the universe decides. Let's talk slang. Siota, legend says it means short time from the US bases, but Joa, likely from Asawa mixed with gay lingo. Language evolves, but the roots go back to the trading ports where we swapped spices for words. We aren't just an archipelago that got discovered, we are the eastern edge of a civilization that spanned from India to the Pacific. We didn't just have gold, we had the words to describe the gods. So who were you before the Spanish? You weren't a savage. You were the descendant of engineers who built ocean-crossing ships. You were the heir to diplomats who slammed gold tablets on emperors' desks. History is written by the victors, they say. But sometimes the victors miss a spot. Sometimes history is hiding in a junk shop in Laguna or buried in the mud of Butuan. We just have to look. This is the Unifying Lens. Next time, we fast forward to 1526. Everyone knows Magellan, but nobody talks about the disaster that came after, the Loaiza expedition, the lost fleet that vanished. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and tell me, if you could time travel to 900 AD Tondo, what's the first thing you'd buy with your gold? See you in the next one.